It started out as a viral infection, so he just got sick, and then it turned into a bacterial infection because they couldn't. He's too young. They can't give him any antibiotics. So.
Okay, everybody, we're live with Jody. If she didn't just go missing, are you still there?
Sorry, I had a severe thunderstorm alert.
Okay, we're live with Jody. She's back. I think we started broadcasting, and she's had a child that she's had to take care of lately, so she wasn't able to do the show for a few weeks. We'll try and get through this one. This week, a lot of things happened. We had the family visit. Speaking of family, I'll let you lead off with that.
So the families came and visited, as they always do. And kind of like I was telling Andy before, is I feel like most of the time when the families come to visit, it lights a fire under everyone's behinds, and they, want to do better in the challenges. They want that advantage of going to take their family out for a nice dinner. And I feel like, they try harder. It gives them motivation to get to the end. So that's a plus for everyone. So I'll just start by saying, everyone came to visit. It was, it's always an emotional time for everyone. And then Wendell had the opportunity to either stay with his dad or take an advantage. He didn't know what the advantage was. So the advantage ended up being, a second try at the was that for immunity? I think it was for immunity, right?
Yes, the advantage was for immunity.
So obviously it was a second go at that. Once his ball dropped or whatever, he got a second chance at it, which I thought was kind of lame. I don't know. In my mind, when they said, "Oh, you'll have a secret advantage," I thought that it was going to be, immunity of some sort, or an extra vote, or something along that lines that he could use at tribal instead of use it, or maybe even a clue of where the immunity idol was. So I thought it was just kind of lame that he gave that up for his dad, and obviously it didn't work out for him. So.
Well, the one thing I'll say, and I laugh about this, they set it up for him to be voted out because it was literally the same thing that happened to Malcolm. The advantage didn't help him. That's a rough advantage. I mean, you don't never know what you're going to get.
Right.
It was very easy. There was no challenge for it. It was just go out there and get it. The thing that I was a little confused with, and I watched the episode, but I don't really know. I'd have to go back and watch it again, and I never watch a season. I never rewind and watch until the season's over, and then I'll go back and watch the whole thing. Jeff, I couldn't tell. It sounded like Jeff said that Wendell could have picked, not Wendell, who won the challenge? Seabass. Sebastian, he could have picked anyone. So I thought he could have picked one of the four girls to go to Ghost Island, and if he picks Kellen or Laurel, then there's no flags raised. But instead, the way he played it made it seem like it had to be one of the people going on the reward. Did I miss something, or was it just you had to pick one of these four?
I think he could pick anybody.
So he just diverted the choice.
Yes. That's the way I understood it.
And I guess the other thing I noticed, maybe I just haven't paid attention lately, I felt like there were so many siblings, and I get this is a young cast, but there was just so many siblings compared to what I guess I'm used to. Yeah, any thoughts on that?
That's funny because my mother-in-law was here and we were watching it together. I mean, Reed's parents are always, big Survivor fans, and they kind of got me hooked on watching. But that was one thing that I pointed out to my mother-in-law was that there was only one wife. There wasn't any. It was a lot of. I just thought there was going to be a lot of moms, a lot of dads, stuff like that. But yeah, I noticed that there was a lot of siblings or friends or whoever, which was weird.
Well, it's not. I don't know if it's weird, but the one that kind of interested me was when we've heard Donovan's, or however you say his name, the guy from Kentucky, when we've heard his story at the beginning of the season that he takes care of his mom and his grandma, it was pretty clear that I doubted either one of them would be out there. So I didn't know if he had any siblings or who was going to come for him, and it was his aunt. But
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with that. But I was just, it's kind of, to me, I like the, husband wife thing. I like the parent thing if it's the right, because that seems to get. If my brother came out there, I'd be happy and glad to see him. But I wouldn't probably cry if my mom came out there and I've been away for 30 days starving. I'm probably going to cry.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'd be the same way. I'd be the same way if like Reed came. I would definitely cry. But if I didn't have Reed, and oh crap, my bad. Can you see me?
You're okay. Yeah.
If I didn't have Reed and I wasn't married, I would definitely want either my mom or my dad to come. So
yeah,
that's just me.
It's understandable. Okay, to the challenge now. This is the challenge, and the thing about if you knew you were going on Survivor, you've been cast, you've got a little bit of time. It's not like you're just gonna go out there and play. They don't say, "Oh, we're casting you," and that's it, because they can't cast everyone at once and send them out there. They give you time to prepare if you need to leave your job, or if your job will give you time off and stuff like that. You don't know what challenges you're going to get,
right?
But to an extent, Survivor only has a certain style and number of challenges, and people have admitted to having the challenges in their backyards, learning to make fire, do things like this. Would you, because this challenge was one that could be done at home, if you were going on, would you prepare for this challenge? And was this an easy challenge, or is this just one of those crapshoots? And is there a way to be good at it, I guess is what I'm saying.
You're talking about the one where they had to, like dig underneath the...
No, I'm saying you put the immunity challenge, you put the sticks together.
You put the sticks together.
Yeah.
Would I practice that at home?
Well, yeah. Would you practice at home, and is it something that people are good at, or is it more of just a luck and whoever's not starved to death and can hold their hands together?
I mean, I think there is a little bit of... I think you can definitely practice for it, for sure. Would I necessarily take the time? I feel like that's the whole point of like going out to Survivor. I want to be surprised by the challenges, and so if I really win something and I haven't practiced for it, I think I would feel more accomplished like that. But I think it's definitely something that you can practice. But yeah, I mean, and it's a little bit of both. I mean, who can outstand the last person? I mean, you're out there for 40 days with no food or really any water. I mean, it's all about a strength and mental game too. So.
Okay, and now I'm gonna get to hindsight's 2020, all that stuff. If we go back an episode where they had the 2 tribal councils, Kellen knew that Michael, because Michael was open to Kellen,
yep,
that he was going to vote for Wendell. Wendell, all of them thought, okay, it's time to get Michael out. Laurel, I actually think, was kind of left out of that vote. Like, they may have told her, hey, vote for Kellen just in case, Michael has an idol. Kellen decided to use her 2 votes, the one advantage she got on Ghost Island. If she plays both her votes on Wendell, Wendell's gone. It's a no-brainer. It's a no clue, and it's easy. Now, we can say that now, because after watching this past episode, I felt like when they got to Tribal, and maybe Donovan was putting on a show with all his ranting and all that, or maybe that's just who he is. But Wendell, who said in a confessional, hey, if someone looks at me wrong, I'm playing my idol tonight.
Yeah.
And that was way too up in the air Tribal. I mean, we still didn't get the whole whisper scene, and I don't think we're going to get that this season, apparently. But I figured he should have played it just to be safe there. So him and Dom, well, that's what I'm going to get. Him and Dominic apparently are that comfortable, and they are in that much control to where with all that, he could just sit back and not play it. Because you can't vote for Dominic. You cannot vote for Dominic. So what are your thoughts on that whole, how comfortable Wendell and Dominic are? If you were Kellen, should she have voted him out the episode before?
Yeah, I mean, if she wants any sort of recognition in the game, she's going to have to make a big move, and I feel like that was her ticket to do so. Because now, I mean, I feel like, well, for one, I mean, they could find out that Kellen, well, no. could they find out that Kellen was plotting against them? I don't know.
No, they know. They know the lines were drawn.
They
It was
know. Okay.
Yeah, they know the lines were drawn. It's the 4 guys and Laurel, and Kellen's
yeah.
with the
Yep,
and
you're
Kellen's with that. I mean, and then I felt like the move tonight to me, or not tonight, but the move Wednesday night. If I were sitting there, unless I'm Dominic or Wendell, if I am anyone else, even Seabass, he could probably do whatever, but the move is Wendell or Seabass on that night, because if it goes like it's going right now, the final 5 to me is going to be Dominic, Wendell, and then they're comfortable with Laurel and Donovan, even though that's what the previews are trying to tell us is not going to happen. Yeah. And Seabass now, because they went on that reward, instead of it being 4, now it's 5. Now when they get to 5, Seabass is going to vote one way or the other. And my guess is he's going to be loyal, to Wendell and Dominic over switching over to them. So I think Laurel and Donovan had control. And I think if they'd have voted Wendell or Seabass out, they would still have a good Final 4 chance.
I know.
But now one of them's going to get hit at 5, I think. And Kellen and I can't think of the one girl's name. I think it's Angela. Kellen and Angela.
The dark girl?
She's the mom who's a retired Army vet.
Angela. Yeah, Angela.
Yeah. They're on the bottom clearly now. They swung and missed. The preview tried to show, hey, Donovan's gonna go crazy in camp and make a move, but they mislead us a lot. What are your thoughts on the situation of where they're at right now?
Hold on, you're breaking up.
I said, what are your thoughts on where the final 7 are at right now?
I try to root for the underdogs. I'm not a big fan of Laurel, so I don't know. I'm just not a big fan. I just feel like she just kind of goes along with, whoever. And I think Donathan does too, to a certain extent, but I want to like him. I want to root for him. You don't like him?
I like Laurel, and I want Laurel to win.
Andy.
Donovan, no.
She's squirrel bait, man.
I don't know what that means, but her game's not over yet.
She's squirrely is what I mean. She's just going along with the pack. So, I just don't like, I don't know. And you're always going to have people like that in the Final 4, and so, you're always, I don't know, you're just always going to have somebody that is just along for the ride. So that's because it's the easy ticket. Nobody wants to sit in the Final 4 with people that are potentially going to beat them. So I understand the game, but I feel like Donathan had a good chance of kind of blindsiding Wendell, and he tried, but it just didn't work out for him.
Okay, so that'll bring me. We'll segment this way then. If everything stays par, if you're Dominic or Wendell, do you sit with the other one? Because they've played a very similar game. And if they both sit there, and I don't think this group knows about how the Final 4 is going to go, where they do the fire challenge yet. I don't think that. I think they were out filming when that aired, or before that aired.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think they know. I can look it up and find out for next week. But I think they filmed right after that season, so they may not know that that's going to happen.
I love that. By the way.
But that's what. So that'll shake things up. But if you're Dominic or Wendell, you can't sit with the other one.
No.
Because then the third person probably has the best chance of winning, because everyone's mad at you and they've played the best game. And I don't know what story. Let's say it's Dominic, Wendell, and Donovan there. Donovan wins because he's going to talk about taking care of his mom, being poor and being unaccepted in Kentucky for his lifestyle. And everyone's going to feel that heartwarming story.
Love it.
So, I mean, do you think Dominic and Wendell are going to turn at some point? They got to do it before 4, because they get to 4, it's going to be a real backlash on one of them.
I don't know. It seems to me that they're pretty tight. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're a smart player, then you're gonna have to take out one or the other. But if like just say if you were on the jury, and just say Dominic and Wendell were both in the same, you know, who would you vote for?
Depends on how I got voted out. I'm not even gonna lie. It depends on how bitter I am when I got voted out. I better have been the first person on the jury, so I'm nice and fattened back up and can sit up there in peace. If I'm like voted out at 5 or 4, or I went out on a fire challenge, I'm voting for the other person. I ain't voting for either one of them.
Can you agree with me that Wendell needs to put on some shorts?
His dad didn't say anything to him.
I know. I was shocked. I was like, that would be the first thing. If I was out there seeing Finn or Jet on Survivor Island and they were out there in their underwear and I could see every nick and cranny, I would be telling them to put some shorts on. Like
that's what my mom said. I told my mom, she's like, I'd tell you to put on your bathing suit. And I was like, you know, it's not airing when you're out there. And she's like, if I saw you in your underwear and I walked up, I would tell you to put on your bathing suit.
Right.
I mean, he's going to get a modeling contract out of this. Come on now. No, this has been a very scandalous season as far as clothing apparel. Now, by the way.
With the guys.
Oh, double standard. Here we come.
I mean, Kellen, she's always, you know, for the most part covered up. That dark-haired girl, what's her name? The dark-haired girl. The dark-haired girl, the really skinny dark-haired girl, what's her name?
The one that just got voted out, Chelsea?
Chelsea. She was always covered up. She had like a nice, modest bathing suit. Her tatas were not hanging out. Now,
me and her are going to date after this. Chelsea, if you ever listen to this, please look me up. I will gladly date you any day of the week.
Desiree always had her tatas hanging out. Angela is always covered up. Kellen is always in her granny panties. So, I mean...
Yeah, that's because that's how...
For the most part, the girls have been covered up. It is Wendell... It is Sebastian, all those guys in those little boxer briefs need to get up on out of Survivor Island because they ain't got nothing. And I can
okay, so yeah, I know we've no comments there. We've been to flag football tournaments and stuff Lord. Like that. But I will say this, and I'm just gonna say on Survivor. A lot of times, if your bathing suit is a certain way, which I'm not talking about Kellen, if you have fake enhancements, they're going to stay the same. If you're real and natural, your bathing suit's going to come off more because you're going to lose that body fat. That's just how it is. So take that into consideration. It's scandalous.
Yep. Well...
You didn't think about it, did you?
No, I didn't.
Go back and watch season Tyson wins Blood versus Water. Just go to the finale and look at Monica. And
Lord.
Her body is gone, but some enhancements are clearly still there.
I mean, Monica and Brad Culpepper are just...
That's you and Reed, by the way.
There's nothing real about it.
Well, you and Reed are real, but I could see both y'all probably being very similar. You would say how much you love and care about each other, and then Brad's blowing my game up out here. Reed is blowing my game up out here.
I would be like that, but having some non-human enhancements, I don't think so.
I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about, like, Reed would be over on the other side. As soon as he wins a challenge, yelling out, pumping his chest, he'd be on the other tribe.
Very first vote, I'd be like, get this, he needs to go. He needs to go. He's messing up my game already. And you know how when we play flag football, I had to be on the defensive side and he had to be on the offensive side because we cannot play together. So,
exactly.
I mean,
Survivor.
That would be trouble from the word go.
CBS, if you're watching this, you need to cast Jody and Reed. If you do Blood Water again, cast them. I promise you, it'd be good. They just got to make it to the merge together. There'd be like this
good drama.
there'd be this whole about 3 hours of haven't seen each other really in 18 days or whatever. And then after about 3 hours together, I love Reed. He's one of my good friends, but I promise you'd be like, Jody, I know what we got to do. I got this. And it would just hit the fan real quick because Reed would probably be about to get blindsided by his people.
I'd turn on him quick.
Well, back to this episode. Let's say this, and this will never happen because we're friends, and I don't think friends can ever be out there on the same season unless they're returning players. If we were both out there, and we're Dominic and Wendell, and I just want you to put this in perspective. We're Dominic and Wendell. We're in the Final Four. We've been together the whole time. We're tight, me and you, right here.
Yep.
And let's say, I'm going to go with me. Sorry, if you didn't watch a previous episode, me and Tyler both picked you as our winner.
Me?
Yeah. Yes, you go back and watch some of the previous episodes.
Oh, shoot. Y'all are giving me too much credit.
Let's say me and you are there, Final Four, and I win immunity. And now I'm like, dang, I'm like, me and Jody, we've done everything together, played the exact same game. She's a mom. I know Jody's going to cry when we get to the final tribal. I got to get her out. And I'm like, I don't know the fire challenge is going to happen. I'm like, and then I get the thing and I'm like, oh, crap. I'm sending the 2 people to do fire. And I send Jody to do fire versus whoever else, and you win. Now you're going to get there. We're going to sit in front of the jury, and they're going to be like, well, you sent Jody to do the fire, so she won. She has that over you, and you're going to sit there and be like, this guy backstabbed me like he backstabbed all of you. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't see how Wendell and Dominic can be there together.
I don't think so. Yeah, I get that. I didn't think about that when you said that, but yeah, they're gonna have to take each other out one way or the other. It's not gonna be like they're gonna sit there and be like, well, we've gotten here because we've been the front runners from day one. So, I mean, they're going to have to make a big move, whether it's Wendell. I think it's going to be Wendell. I'll just call it now. I think Dominic is going to have to wise up and take Wendell out. And honestly, like, I wish it was the other way around, to be honest with you. But I just have a hunch that that's what's going to happen.
Okay, another interesting thing that happened this week, the fake coconut that David made on Millennials versus Gen X.
Yeah.
He made the fake idol on the coconut.
Yes.
Of course, Dominic finds it and then hides it. He doesn't really implore. To me, he doesn't. They don't show everything, obviously, but no one was really looking for it, and that's when you're like, man, I hope someone finds. And I'm sure at some point they showed him hide it. Some point someone's going to find it. He may find it, and if I were him, I would find it with someone, and then I'd be like, hey, you might need this tonight, and I would put it on that person and, like, give it to him and then vote him out. That might be the way he gets Wendell, because both him and Wendell still have an idol.
Yep, you're smart, Andy. I think, yeah, you got something there.
He's got to think of something.
If Dominic is that smart, I don't know if he is.
Well, you got to remember, and this is the one thing, we can sit back here and talk about it. We haven't been on for 30 days and been fairly food deprived and all this other elements they're going through. Because when you're out there, I'm sure there are irrational thoughts. There are irrational thoughts that go through my head right now, so I don't even want to imagine.
I can speak for this sleep deprivation, which I know that ain't good sleep out there. Sleep deprivation alone can make you not even think straight. So trust me, I know this. I have a newborn. So
when you speak about sleep deprivation, basically, I'm pretty sure there's a picture of me somewhere on Facebook, passed out on a bench. You've seen how easy it is for me to fall asleep in a car, and how hard it is for everyone else to sleep around me. And then you've also seen what happens when me and your husband and one of our other friends stay up for like 14 hours straight doing energy drinks in a car ride, driving everyone crazy.
I was so sleep deprived that I slapped Reed.
Okay, I wasn't going to bring that up, but don't saying 5 o'clock in the morning about 30 times, even if it is 5 o'clock in the morning, and you can't keep talking about sports because you're going to circle around and it's going to irritate people who are trying to sleep.
Just going to make me mad. Just going to make me mad. And one word just set me off.
Well, it's okay.
So
we're not going to talk about
it. Survivor, I think I would be, I don't know. I think I would turn into a villain real quick. Just because, yeah, I would just get annoyed with people. And then I would just start being dramatic about things. So I think that's how I'd be if I was on Survivor.
Let's talk a little Ghost Island for a second. Okay. Ghost Island, to me, this whole season, it's very inconsistent. I don't like that they're going in order of the urns. Yeah. They all keep going in a straight line, and that means they know they're putting one here, here, and here when they're smashed. And if you're going to tell me that they don't know, I'm calling bull on that. I mean, like, if they really randomly just put them in and made them go in order, so be it. I don't believe it. But I don't like the way it's been structured. I think that we haven't always we didn't go on a double tribal council, send 2 people, and then send them both back. And someone's going to say, hey, so-and-so found, you know what I mean? Like, make it interesting. And the second thing is, I've also wondered, we found out, at first I would have told you, I bet there's a prize in everything. You know, like when they make you choose the 2 coconuts or the 3, whatever husk. And I would have said, but now we've seen there's been a couple times where people, I think 2 people have lost their votes. I mean, I get it. It's somewhat, but they need to just structure it a little better and have some rules. There's like no rules. It's like they're just kind of flying by the seat of their pants.
Yeah, I agree. So no, I don't like the way it's structured either, because obviously they're going to know like who's going to get an advantage and who's not. So I don't like it.
Are we going to see it again?
I think I hope not, but I think they had good intentions for it, but it's just not. In my eyes, I just don't see that it's necessary for this season. I don't get it, to be honest with you. I like the concept of, let's bring back idols, that were, lost or whatever. I like that, but I think there's a different way to do it instead of, I don't know, have everybody like go search for these idols. I mean, that would be better than just sending them somewhere and then you either get an advantage or you don't. Like, I just don't like it. So.
Well, the one good thing I'll say, they mainly cast Survivor fans at this point. And that's probably the main people. Don't get me wrong. I know if someone's applying for Big Brother or something and you think they could make it on Survivor, they'll cast them. Yeah. But it's mainly Survivor fans. So, like, when they bring out the stick or, like, David's fake necklace, and David still doesn't have power. What it is. But David's doesn't have power, but the stick did. So if they keep stuff like that to where it's confused and you don't know, because as soon as David's thing gets played, even if someone recognizes it, if it gets played, then it'll be like, well, the stick worked. Why didn't that work? So I think stuff like that they need to kind of keep. But there's a few things they might need to alter on the Ghost Island aspect of it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
We're getting towards the end. I'm going to say poor Chelsea. She didn't get a lot of screen time till these last few episodes.
Right? I didn't even know who she was until like the last couple of episodes. I was like, oh, where did this chick come from?
And that's what I'm going to ask you about. So the one thing I've been a little disappointed with on Survivor, I used to think nothing of it, is the reunion shows lately. The last one literally focused primarily on the winner. I don't know if more than 3 other people really got to talk on the reunion show. Mm-hmm. They either need to do the reunion show like as a separate thing and like have it to where, okay, it's not televised, but you can watch it on the CBS app or something. Yeah. Because there are things we want to know, and if they continue that, the reunion show is pointless to me. And so I'm like, Chelsea. Is Chelsea going to get more than – she might not even get spoken to at the reunion show. And if she does, is it just going to be like, hello, America? You know, how do you feel about the reunion show and where it's been headed lately?
I mean, I like that the core player, because obviously at the reunion show, you have a bunch of people that you're like, oh, I forgot, because they either got voted out the very first or second, person to get voted out, or they bring them back and they only I honestly don't feel like she's gonna get very much screen time, because what did she really do? They only talk to the people that actually played the game or did something. I mean, she, aside from winning a couple of immunity idols, right? Because she won some immunity challenges.
Yeah, she won 2 in a row and didn't win this last one.
So, I mean, I think she'll get asked about that. But as far as that, I don't know if she'll even get. She's a very soft-spoken person, so I don't know if she'll even get any screen time. So, I mean, I feel like they talk to the people that need to be talked to, which is good. They obviously don't have enough time to talk to each individual person in the hour or whatever they have for the reunion show. So, I get it. But at the same time, I mean, I would like to know the perspective of every single person, but it's just a matter of what they have time for.
Okay, so I'm going to put you up like I've been doing Tyler. Tyler is the kiss of death right now.
Oh,
Tell me, who are you rooting for so I know who's going to get voted out next? And I want everyone to know right now I am still rooting for Laurel. I hope she wins the whole thing. I do not think she is in the driver's seat right now. That's just who I'm going for. Now let's see Jody's going to get voted out right now. So here we go. Jody, who's getting voted out next?
Donathan. I'm going for Donathan. I want him to win so bad just because I like his story. I think he's a good kid, and I think he has the potential. I mean, if you think about from where he started, I mean, he didn't even want to jump in the water to go dive down to get that thing, that floaty thing. He didn't even want to dive down to do that, and he did it. And the poor guy, nearly came up, started crying because he did it. So I feel like from the moment he started, he's just grown over time. And he has the potential to be stronger than I think what people give him credit for, mentally and physically. So I really, really like him. I want him to win. However, I think he might be on his way out, but I hope not. So that's who I'm voting for. I just don't want the stronger, obvious people to win is my thing.
So, everybody, the person CBS showed us causing mayhem at camp, and Dominic saying, I don't know if I can trust him. On the next preview, Jody has now, much like Tyler, said, oh, I hope that this person wins, and this is who I'm rooting for. So now I will say this, Donathan, if you're watching this, goodbye, Hunger Games style. So, just so you know, Jody, because obviously I think you know Tyler well enough to know he was pulling heavily for Libby and Chelsea.
Well, for obvious reasons.
That's just Tyler's personality.
Come on.
I'm pulling for Laurel, and I know it's not an attractive thing. It's who I like to find someone to root for, and ever since trust me, I find Chelsea the most attractive. I hope I've asked Chelsea once again. I will gladly take you on a date. I'll pay. Anyway.
Chelsea, call Andy.
Laurel, I'm rooting for you. I don't know. I like athletes, and she was a former college athlete and is very intelligent and has worked her way here, even though Jody doesn't like her staying in the midst of the pack.
Yeah, I think she needs to make a big move, but who knows? Maybe she will.
So, anything you want to say before we part?
Andy, I think you need to go on Survivor one day, and I will back this up. So, CBS, if you're watching, we have a lot of CBS's, if you're watching, moments tonight, but CBS, if you're watching, Andy Decker has a heart of gold, and he needs to be on Survivor because he can win. I do believe you can win, so...
Thank you. I appreciate that. For the record, I will say this. If I went on Survivor, it's going to be there's only 3 things that are happening. I am absolutely the first person voted out.
No.
Or I make the merge and I get voted out like first or second there, which would be fine with me because then I'd sit on Ponderosa and be in everyone else's Ponderosa video and eat steak and sit on the jury and judge and make little comments like, ooh, they didn't know what's happening. Whispering to someone beside me.
I don't think you'd be that. No. I you would at
Or I
least.
think I'd win. By the way, anyone watching this, if I'm in the final 3, I'm going to cry and I'm probably going to lie.
Hey,
I've already told my mom I'd lie and say that she was like sick or something, and I'll take my $1 million and just live with myself.
that's the part of Survivors. You never know if anybody is telling the truth from the beginning. So you can't. I mean, you can't. I don't know. In my eyes, you can't like hold that against the person because it's a game. So if you're gonna lie, if you're gonna go on there, you better lie. You better lie, and you better play the game hard. You
I'm still voting.
Be manipulative.
I'm still voting for you and Reed. Or honestly, there's one other thing. I wouldn't mind seeing you and Reed, or probably you and Brienne on Amazing Race.
Oh,
I don't really watch Amazing Race, but as everyone else tells me it's pretty good. I would watch it if my friends are on it because I would want to make fun of them and see their struggles.
Oh, thanks, Andy. Appreciate it.
Well, it's just what it is. Guys, Jody joined midnight. Thank you, Jody.
Bye, guys.
I got to get to watching the Rockets. Y'all have a good night. Jody, we'll try and do this again.
All right.